She is 54, a household name and more than just an icon of the silver screen. While most see the fame, few realize the scale of the fortune behind it. Actress, entrepreneur, and silent empire builder, she's become the richest American actress of all time without ever needing to say it out loud. So how did she do it? To understand her success, we first have to rewind the clock to where it all began. Long before the red carpets, global premieres, and record-breaking earnings, she was just a young girl with big dreams in a modest southern town. Born into a working-class family, her early life wasn't filled with luxury or celebrity connections. It was grounded in discipline, charm, and an unmistakable spark that set her apart. Even as a child, her parents instilled a strong work ethic, and by the time she was a teenager, she already had her eyes set on something far beyond her hometown. She started auditioning at a young age, bouncing between school and casting calls, sometimes getting callbacks, often getting nothing. Her first on-screen appearance came in the form of a minor role on a TV drama. Just a few lines, but enough to get her noticed. What followed was a string of auditions, small parts, and more than one moment of questioning whether it would all work out. But what made her different wasn't just talent, it was resilience. She was learning, watching, studying how the business worked, not just how the scenes were shot. Then came the film that changed everything. It wasn't a blockbuster at night. In fact, most studios passed on it, but she took the role, insisting on a fair contract and negotiating back-end points, even when she was advised not to. When the movie exploded at the box office, so did her visibility and her earnings. Suddenly, she wasn't just a breakout star, she was a bankable lead. She had become the one to watch. But even then, she was doing something different. Instead of basking in fame, she paid close attention to how her contracts were structured. She surrounded herself with a smart team, lawyers, agents, and advisors who respected her intuition. She wanted royalties, she wanted creative control, and she wanted ownership. She wasn't just acting in films, she was learning how to profit from them long after the final scene wrapped. As her popularity grew, so did her financial instincts. She turned down roles that didn't offer equity, chose scripts that allowed her to negotiate better back-end deals, and understood early that visibility could be monetized far beyond the screen. Studios began to see her not just as an actress, but as an asset. Her name on a poster guaranteed ticket sales. Her presence in a room could greenlight a project, and with every deal, she made sure her value was protected. What made her rise so unique wasn't just the path she took, it was the way she walked it. Carefully, strategically, with full awareness that her career could open doors to something far bigger. And she was just getting started. But what turned her from a star into a business powerhouse was what she did after the spotlight. After her breakout role, the industry didn't just notice. Hollywood opened its doors. She stepped into an era defined by blockbuster cinema, and from the very beginning, she proved she could carry a film, both artistically and financially. Her name quickly became synonymous with success. Producers knew that casting her meant securing an audience, and audiences showed up every time. Within just a few years, she went from promising talent to undisputed box office royalty. Her filmography grew fast, with each new release outperforming the last. Romantic dramas, legal thrillers, sharp comedies, she moved between genres with ease, becoming a household name without ever being typecast. But beyond each carefully chosen role was a sharper strategy. She wasn't just reading scripts, she was reading contracts. She was negotiating aggressively, securing not only massive upfront salaries but also a percentage of the film's profits. And as those films became hits, her earnings soared well beyond most of her peers. At her peak, she was one of the highest paid actresses in the world, commanding 8-figure checks for a single film. But that was the only part of the equation. When one of her most iconic films crossed the $300 million mark at the box office, she didn't just take home a paycheck, she earned a fortune. With success came prestige. The awards followed: Golden Globes, Academy nominations, and international honors. But while the industry celebrated her talent, brands saw something even more valuable: influence. She became a marketing icon, not just endorsing products, but embodying them. Luxury fashion houses, beauty empires, and even tech companies lined up for partnerships. She didn't just lend her face, she boosted global visibility and sales. By her early 40s, her name alone was worth tens of millions. Studios didn't just want her in films, they wanted her attached to projects in any form. And she took full advantage of that leverage. She began producing, often backing the very films she starred in. This gave her even more control, creative and financial, and ensured that her roles aligned with her evolving brand. Equity became her trademark. She learned that ownership was the real power move in Hollywood. She started asking the right questions. What are the residuals? How will this stream? What's the international cut? And she got the answers in writing. She wasn't just earning more than her co-stars, she was earning more than many producers, thanks to the pieces of each project she quietly held behind the scenes. All of this didn't just make her rich, it made her an institution. In an industry where relevance fades quickly, she maintained hers through strategy, longevity, and vision. She proved that Hollywood didn't have to chew you up and spit you out. If you played it right, you could own the table. Still, it wasn't the acting that built her fortune. It was what she did off-screen that made her unstoppable. By the time most actors start thinking about life beyond the screen, she was already building her second empire. Acting had made her famous, but business would make her legendary. And she made sure every move she made off-screen was bigger, smarter, and even more calculated than the ones in front of the camera. Her first major leap was launching her own production company. It started as a quiet extension of her creative ambitions, producing stories she believed in and roles that Hollywood often overlooked. But it didn't stay small for long. Within a few years, her company was developing films, selling rights to streamers, and shaping major television projects. She wasn't just picking scripts, she was shaping narratives, and more importantly, she was taking a cut of everything. Then came fashion. She debuted her own clothing line, accessible, polished, and rooted in her personal style. It wasn't a celebrity vanity project. It was smart, scalable, and backed by market research. The brand grew rapidly, appearing in major departmental stores and eventually expanding into accessories, homeware, and even fragrance. She had created not just a label but a lifestyle. Beauty was next. Partnering with a respected cosmetics lab, she launched a skincare brand that focused on wellness, sustainability, and authenticity. It tapped into a growing market and earned trust not because of her fame, but because of the results. The products flew off the shelves, bolstered by strong online sales and a carefully crafted social media presence. The company was valued at 9 figures within 3 years. But her most powerful moves were not the ones made quietly. Through strategic investments and partnerships that kept her name out of the headlines but close to the returns, she invested early in a tech company focused on digital privacy. Long before it became a hot topic, she bought commercial real estate in booming areas, snapping up undervalued properties and flipping them into boutique hotels and creative spaces. She became a silent backer in a luxury wellness retreat brand that now caters to executives and celebrities alike. Every investment wasn't just a financial play. It aligned with her name and extended her brand into the real world. Her partnerships were just as smart. She turned down fast cash in favor of equity deals. When major platforms and billion-dollar conglomerates came knocking, she didn't sign on as a spokesperson. She joined the boardroom. She negotiated licensing agreements with revenue-sharing models and pushed for creative inputs on campaigns. Wherever her name appeared, it added value, but it also meant she owned part of the value created. What made her business approach so effective was her consistency. Every brand move reflected who she was: refined, timeless, forward-thinking. She didn't chase trends, she set them. While others were riding waves, she was building ships quietly, efficiently, and with a kind of discipline that turns fame into a franchise. And perhaps most impressively, she never tried to be everything to everyone. She knew her strengths and leaned into them. Whether she was launching a new wellness product, funding a documentary, or acquiring another property, she did it with the same quiet confidence that defined her career from the start. She wasn't following the playbook, she was rewriting it. Her portfolio is impressive, but so is her lifestyle. When your net worth stretches into the hundreds of millions, it's easy to live large, but the way she lives is less about extravagance and more about intention. Her lifestyle isn't a show of wealth. It's a reflection of design, precision, and values shaped by years in industry where privacy is scarce and perception is everything. Her real estate portfolio alone is a masterclass in global luxury. In Los Angeles, she owns a sprawling modern estate tucked behind dense hedges in the Hollywood Hills, a compound that's equal parts home, sanctuary, and production headquarters. There's a penthouse in New York with views of Central Park, elegant and minimal, used mostly for short stays and strategic meetings. Abroad, she holds residences in Italy and the south of France, classic stone villas that blend into the landscape but offer the kind of seclusion only ultra-wealthy can buy. Each property reflects a different chapter of her life, curated with the same care she brings to her roles. She flies private, always, but rarely posts about it. Her jet is custom-fitted for comfort and equipped for work, allowing her to transition seamlessly from business to downtime as she crosses continents. Her vacations are rarely shared with the public, a yacht in the Mediterranean here, a private island rental there. When she disappears for a few weeks, no one knows where she's gone. And that's how she likes it. Her wardrobe is a carefully managed archive of high fashion, custom tailoring, and limited-run collaborations. She doesn't just collect clothing, she curates it. Rare Chanel, custom Valentino, vintage Hermes, all stored in temperature-controlled closets and rotated by her stylist and archivist. Every appearance, every step onto a red carpet or behind a podium is considered intentional and strategically aligned with her brand. Security is ever present, but never obvious. She travels with a discreet team that handles logistics, protection, and privacy. Her staff isn't just made up of assistants and stylists. There are wellness coaches, a personal chef who understands her dietary needs down to the molecule, and a digital strategist who ensures her online presence reflects exactly what she wants the world to see. Yet even with all of this luxury, she's never seen as flashy. Her elegance lies in her restraint, and while the world admires her wealth, her influence runs even deeper. For all the wealth she's amassed and the empires she's built, what truly defines her legacy is what she gives away, quietly, consistently, and with purpose. Long before headlines dubbed her the richest American actress, she was already channeling her influence towards something far more enduring. Her name is linked to several major foundations, but few realize just how deeply involved she actually is. For her, philanthropy isn't a tax strategy or a publicity tool, it's a calling. She has donated millions to causes close to her heart: children's health, environmental protection, disaster relief, and arts education. But the focus is never on the dollar amount. It's on the outcome. Schools have been built in her name, yet she requested no plaques. Hospitals have upgraded their equipment thanks to her funding, but she declined any ceremonies. She's established scholarships for undeserved youth, especially girls of color, and she personally mentored many of them through college and into their careers. Her advocacy goes far beyond writing checks. She has used her platform to challenge entrenched industry norms, pushing for broader representation both behind and in front of the camera. When studios hesitated to fund stories led by women or people of color, she quietly financed them herself. And when those projects found success, she didn't take the credit. She redirected the spotlight to the voices that had finally been heard. To the public, she's a global icon, but within the industry, she's something even more powerful. A quiet force, a connector, a decision maker. The kind of figure whose silent approval can shift the fate of a project, a brand, or a conversation. She doesn't command the room by volume, but when she speaks, people listen. When she lends her support, doors open. What sets her apart is how she wields that influence. She's not chasing legacy through headlines, she's building it through people. Young actors credit her with helping them navigate contracts. First-time directors say she saved their films. Colleagues call her the most generous person in the room, not because she gives often, but because she gives with intent. Though she remains at the top of her game, her thoughts are already on the future, not just her own, but the ones she's shaping for those who come after. She's laying the foundations so that others won't have to fight the battles she did. Because for her, it was never just about the money, it was always about meaning. At 54, most actors would be easing into legacy mode. Slowing down, taking fewer roles, choosing comfort over challenge, but not her. For this billion-dollar star, the momentum hasn't faded, it's only shifting into something more intentional, more expansive. She's not just maintaining her empire, she's evolving it, piece by piece. into something that outlasts fame entirely. In the world of film, she's still active, but now she chooses her roles like a chess master selects her moves, carefully, strategically, with an eye on impact. She gravitates towards projects that carry weight, stories that shape conversation, elevate new voices, or challenge the way people think. She's producing more than ever, often championing underrepresented talent while staying behind the scenes. And when she does step in front of the camera, it's never just to perform, it's to deliver something meaningful. Away from Hollywood, her business ventures continue to grow. Whispers swirl around a tech startup she's backing, rumored to focus on wellness tracking and digital privacy. Others say she's investing in eco-retreats for creatives and executives seeking to unplug. Nothing is confirmed, but that's her style. She doesn't announce, she executes. Family remains a central pillar. Those close to her say she's deeply focused on raising children with the same humility and focus that shaped her own path. She's involved, protective, and thoughtful. Her goal isn't just to leave a financial inheritance, it's to pass on the mindset, the discipline, and the values that built her success. Even in parenting, she thinks long-term. What's most remarkable is how she continues to adapt. At 54, her face still graces magazine covers, but her presence is far more than visual. It's strategic. She sits on advisory boards, consults with global brands, and shapes projects that won't launch for another 5 years. She's not chasing the spotlight, she's designing where it shines next. She's also begun speaking, selectively, at women's summits, entrepreneurship forums, and leadership retreats. She shares not just her story, but her strategy. Her audience isn't just fans anymore, it's founders, filmmakers, and future leaders. She speaks about resilience, ownership, and the business of creativity. She's becoming not just an icon, but a blueprint. And even with all of this, she's not done. The headlines may focus on her wealth, her accolades, her image. But beneath it all is someone still building. Leave your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories behind the fame and fortune.